So, welcome to another episode in the Art of Gridding series for Method Grids, and I'm joined this week by Matt Jenkins, who's Head of Consulting at Footdown. Matt, thanks very much for your time.
No problem.
So, Matt, it'd be great if you could just start off, explain, well, essentially, what Footdown does in your role, in the context of that.
Yeah, no problem. So, Footdown is a software services firm based out of Bristol. 15 years old now, and we help leaders and organisations work out what the story is in their organisations so that they can find performance advantage.
Great stuff. And I saw right on your homepage, footdown.com, there's a good use of a promo video. So let's just give, I think, everybody first minute of this, and that's probably the best way to get that across.
Brilliant.
Here at Footdown, we have made it our business to provide today's and tomorrow's leaders with exceptional organisational insight. Our unique F1.1 software takes the pulse of your organisation, turns your people's voices into insights, and enables your leaders to build a roadmap of detailed solutions designed to set your organisation on a path to high performance. F1.1 is a fast, real-time global application delivering results that speak directly to you. F1.1's unique set of lenses diagnose complex data, present detailed insights, provide truly practical solutions, clarify your complex issues, and does all this in minutes. Harnessing the power of this software is simple. Just create an event, select your team of voices, choose one of our unique lenses, and in no time, it will diagnose your results and reveal your current employee experience.
I'm going to pause it there, Max. I think that just gives a great sort of first sort of look into what Footdown does. But essentially, I look at that as a new central prospect customer. You've clearly, at the heart of what you do, you've got a software tech solution.
Yep.
And in with client events, you use that platform to sort of really engender insights into high performing teams, cultural dynamics, and clearly help those clients therefore improve on that position. Is that a fair summary?
Pretty good. You could come and work for us.
So if you could just pick up a little bit more about your remit when you joined the company, what your role was from there.
Yeah, sure. So I joined Footdown about 18 months ago now, just over 18 months ago, back end of 2016. But I'd been a customer of Footdown for about 10 years. I'd actually seen the product evolve as a customer from initially an insights cardboard type of game that would be played in a room through to the digitalised product it is today. And the attraction for me really joining Footdown was one, the people, as are on the screen at the moment. They're a great bunch of people that I've known for a long time, but the technology was phenomenal, but also the opportunity of how we take this product and we scale it. The consultancy industry is going to go through a rapid change very soon. It's probably the next big industry that's going to see automation transform it. And we've got a product at Footdown in F1.1 and some of the other products that we're building out around this that I think will radically change how the industry works and how we support and service clients.
No, great. And I guess in that context, Matt, growing out the offer, what's maybe just describe how you came across Method Grid and why you even got engaged with the platform.
Yeah, I like with most things, they start from a conversation over a cup of coffee with me. You and I know each other from a past life and a past company, and often sat down over coffee to share ideas and kind of thinking and where we were with our various ventures. And bit of a show and tell over coffee in Bath one day led us to a bit of a discovery of you've got something pretty magical on your hands. And pretty much as soon as I saw it wasn't even the beta version, it was kind of just your early design thinking. I could see how we could put this to use, and that when it became available as beta, I wanted to get my hands on it. For me, it wasn't that we had a proven methodology. We had a lot of information, disparate information held in people's heads, inboxes, the odd Dropbox folder, a network drive. I wanted to just sit down and play with your product. And I literally started in a hotel room in the US on a business trip with a blank screen, and I started to build. And very quickly, I put some shape to what is it we do?
Yeah,
and how do we scale that?
We'll jump over to your Method Grid platform in a moment. I just want to make sure that everybody kind of really understands essentially the positioning of Footdown and the sort of F1.1 product within that. So effectively, it's a event-based software as a service license proposition.
Yep.
But as an adjunct, Footdown will provide skilled expert consultants, facilitators to both help clients undertake that diagnostic, but also to help them with any support arrangement thereafter. That's the summary. And if that's a fair summary, can you talk about the different instances of sell that you have?
Yeah, absolutely. So the perfect description. We have a tool that we can deploy anywhere in the world to any number of people in real time, see their data coming back in on how they perceive the organisation, different aspects of it. Primarily, we've always dealt direct to customer. That's how our company was built. Like I said, kind of the days when I was a customer, it was sitting in a room and being consulted with around perception. And now we've got a product that allows us to go to a much wider audience.
And sorry, in that instance, a customer might be an SME organisation or a...
typically we work with management boards, kind of wider management teams, but anybody from SME up to kind of corporate global entity. We're pretty lucky with the brand names that we've got on our website. And what we're doing now is moving into diversifying away from still supporting our direct to customer clients, but how do we enable the reseller market, other consultancies to make use of the technology that we've got? Like I said, the industry is going to go through change rapidly. It's already starting to change. People are looking for tools that they can get access to give them a point of difference, and that's what we've got. And then obviously the third element is really the enterprise license, where bigger clients want to do this in-house. They have bright, intelligent people. They have resources at their disposal, and they want to be able to take control of this and run it for themselves.
So enterprise level, they may run fairly autonomously. You provide them the software, and you won't need to provide any ongoing expertise. Resellers, which I guess primarily will be out of professional service consultancy businesses looking to enrich their offering with your platform.
Absolutely.
And the first sector you mentioned is you're both selling the software direct, but also probably the consultancy offer as well.
Yeah.
What's the ratio, Matt? And do you have any ambition to sort of change where it currently is?
So at the moment, it's still kind of majority consultancy ourselves. So probably 80% of our business, not probably at all, 80% of our business comes through direct to customer. 20% of that is our emerging markets, which is reseller and enterprise licenses. We envisage that will flip completely on its head at some point, and that's what we're trying to work towards. Is we don't want to lose touch of the direct to customer. That will keep us humble, it will keep us hungry, it will keep informing the product, but really our scalability, our growth will come through the reseller market and enterprise licenses. So
it's fair to say strategically you're looking to move Footdown to be much more of a technology software provider, but with a consulting service adjunct to oil that software sell.
Absolutely.
Okay, got it. No, great stuff. So we've talked about why you sort of came onto MethodGrid, and I guess the summary would be initially just to sort of capture common understanding within your team as to how you sell and deliver your product. And is that a fair summary?
Yeah, that's exactly it. So Footdown has been around a long time, but not much information was written down because we've evolved quite dramatically over the last kind of 3 to 4 years. Information was held in various people's heads and didn't need to be any more than that. But my job is to transition the company into something more scalable, and that's what we're doing at the moment. So it started with, how do we get this information into a common place and enable a common understanding, so that when we start to recruit new people, when we start to bring through resellers, even when we get to enterprise license, the information is there and the consistency is there. And MethodGrid gave us a great platform to start building that information out, essentially.
No, great. And we've just jumped over now to your platform, and I think the gist of this, chat, Matt, is going to be the sort of, starting with the simple, effectively, and the first blog we did in this series was with the PI group in the States, and if people want to have a look at that one, they'll see the team over there built these hugely rich and deep grids, and their grid library is with hundreds of elements within. But the real point of emphasis I think we're going to get across here is, you don't need to jump straight to that kind of complexity, and the value of initially capturing something in a fairly simple construct is, it starts a very powerful, internal dialogue. And if you could just maybe describe, here we are in your grid library and there are 3 grids. Which one do you think is the one that we
we have numerous aspects of high performance that we look at. Workplace is our core, but team and leadership are very common as well. But high performance workplace is a great place to start. And
effectively, this is, I guess, almost the central proposition that you'd be selling to a client organisation.
Absolutely. It's the benchmark for where an organisation is and where they build from.
Okay, we dive in and we can see, again, as I say, relative to, others, this is not a complex grid. And I think this is the really interesting part of this chat today with Matt, is that, how conversations evolve. And I think, Matt, it's fair to say some people, when they come in, they look at a blank page in Method Grid, it can be, somewhat intimidating initially. And, I think what would be great to get across is just how, these conversations and methodologies evolve. So maybe if you could just describe, how this came about.
Yeah, so I've my background is change and transformation. I've run PMOs, I've run programs, kind of in various locations around the world, and been in that place where you've got an established methodology, kind of it's already written down, and you just be building something out that's quite complex and thorough. We were at the opposite end of this. We were starting with a blank piece of paper and saying, well, what is the key information we need people to know and to have access to, so that we can iterate it and evolve it over time. And I literally kind of started this in a hotel room on a business trip, a bit exploratory, a little bit of play. It was a beta product, but it enabled me very quickly, within a matter of hours, to take it from a blank piece of paper to a solid set of information. For us, we have 3 core elements that we take a client through. So kind of culture is where we start, and then we lead them through performance and engagement. But they're complex elements that kind of, to put all of that in one space would just overwhelm somebody and lead to further confusion, which is what we were trying to avoid. Breaking it down into the 3 elements give us clarity around, right, what is it we're trying to say about culture? Where's the information that we need to kind of keep alongside this? And very much we can build on this from here.
So, fair to say that this is a sort of a nascent first iteration of a methodology, because Absolutely. I think you see these as broadly steps in that, in that sort of classic engagement process.
Yep.
But we'll come on to talk about how you see it sort of, moving from here. But again, just to, I guess, repeat for the listener, the primary aim and your sort of drive for doing this initially was to forge a common understanding within your own delivery team. I mean, this isn't necessarily even get into the eyes of the prospect at the moment. It's just a common understanding with your own team. Can you maybe just talk a bit more about that and where you started from?
Footdown is a small team. There's only 10, 12 people in the company as a whole, but we are based everywhere. Kind of, we've got guys from kind of East Coast, Kent, kind of the West Coast where we're based, and all the way up in kind of middle country as well. We're spread out. We don't meet very regularly. We collaborate, yet we didn't have a tool that we could collaborate around. We didn't have a place where we could store common information. So knowledge being held in senior people's heads wasn't helpful if we wanted to cascade that knowledge down and start to diversify the number of people that could talk articulately around our product, but also deliver our product.
So we'll just open up one of the elements, and this is understanding culture, which is clearly one of the key lenses of your software tool. And if you could just maybe talk about what you've set up here.
Yeah, so it kind of, like I said, playing around with this to start with, it started with very basic information, and over time we've actually added to this quite a lot. It started with, what is it that this lens is trying to do? What's the description of this lens? So that we had a common language, common understanding within the team. That enables us to then talk about what this lens enables, kind of provide links to places where they can get further information. So all of our work is grounded in science, either science that we've produced ourselves through our doctor, Mike Carter, or other people. And then essentially tell a story that people can kind of get to. So whether it's a new starter coming into the business, an existing person coming back to refresh some knowledge, or just sharing new information amongst ourselves, we can get access to the articles we've written, any video clips that we use regularly or have discovered, or even feature videos that we want to showcase and make available to people, just to kind of increase their knowledge and understanding of how we take this product out to our customer.
So I guess it was the first instance of a standard common reference point that all of your colleagues are on the same page with, and you've curated it, Matt. So I guess there's been a quality assurance role that it's the sort of current best thinking on this particular aspect.
I'm a detail guy. I can't help it. I like to have control of things. The way I prefer to work is start small, kind of keep the control tight, get that consistency, and then as that trust develops and our knowledge expands, then loosen the reins on it and allow it to feed. We're at a stage now where we can decouple this from me. Kind of the core information is there, the core structure, the core design is there. Now people can start to take it in the place that they want to and add the information and material. So whilst I'm the architect, we do have editors that can actually support this process.
Sure. So I think, again, the real point of emphasis is, people don't necessarily need to be blown away and sort of give themselves almost the high bar of creating this massively deep, 8 stages by 6 themes sort of framework with hundreds of elements. I guess the key message here is even this really, really simple 3-stage, 1 single theme has enabled you to just in the first instance derive the benefit of some common assets that have been curated by yourself that everybody now at least can gather around and talk to. So I think this quite an interesting point, Matt, to talk about having done that, first exercise, and hopefully people don't feel too intimidated by, seeking to emulate that. How do you see this evolving? Where are you? This is clearly, as always, a work in progress.
So I think we're on the cusp of the next iteration of this for us now. The information is where it needs to be. It's enabled us to get the knowledge where up to the standard that it needs to be. I can see this changing multiple ways. I think first and foremost we'll see new stages evolve. So there'll be stages that come in before culture. Certainly from our perspective with the product, we have a stage now where we have a number of steps, a number of materials that we need to make available for people for deploying our product. So that would go before we even get into culture, performance and engagement. Likewise, there's some stages that would come after these. So I can see kind of the number of stages evolving, but equally the number of themes will start to evolve as well. So we're going to see things go in there around breaking the information up into preliminary information, pre-reading, kind of what are the basic stuff you need to know. If you want to deliver on culture, performance and engagement, how do you do that? What support material is available, what assets are available to you if you want to enhance your knowledge. And then obviously the number of users. We've recently broken into the reseller market globally. So we've got resellers in the US, we've got resellers in Australia, potentially Africa we're having conversations with as well at the moment. The opportunity to be able to open up this product to the reseller market so they can get this information is huge, let alone our opportunity with enterprise license. And we've got a beta customer in that stage at the moment that this is a perfect tool where when we cut the tie with them and they want to go it alone, they have all this information in one place.
No, great. And I'm going to sort of break that down a little because, again, I think the real point of emphasis in this conversation is, if you can start sort of simple, and what is simple is understood, what then tends to happen, and we see this a lot, is that a methodology then sort of takes on a life because you've got a place that people are gathering around and constantly sort of refining. And just to break that down, the way I heard that from Footdown's perspective is, well, firstly, the stages will evolve. Now that you've had the first simple instance, then you can see that there's maybe a left and a right aspect to it. So you can see this methodology taking on 4 or 5 stages as it beds down. And as you talked about the evolution of the themes, initially you've just focused on getting colleagues onto the same page from an understanding perspective, just having knowledge as to how you you impart this to clients. But one way that the themes may evolve is they have the understanding, and then also they have some delivery steps when they're delivering this for real. And I think the point of emphasis is again that there's no right or wrong answer sometimes to methodology development. It tends to be a creative process in some regard, but another way of dimensioning on the themes is, by the category of user. So you talked about, well, you have, you're clearly your internal team, but your resellers are increasingly important. So, possibly that's a theme within the methodology. But I think the key point for listeners is, I sometimes think that people feel that there's a methodology out there, and they're almost like paleontologists, dusting the soil away, trying to find this, magic dinosaur methodology that, hidden in the ground, and it reveals itself. And it's less that, it's more the process of intellectual discussion around, how a grid can best work. So I think that's really useful for people. And then the third point is that you touched on there, Matt, how you see the access evolving. And, you've started off, you're carefully curating, the single architect, but you see yourself opening up the architect.
We're already at the stage where we've opened it, I'd say kind of tier one collaboration, kind of internally, people can feed this process. We're curious souls in Footdown. We seek new information. Kind of we get a kick out of finding new stuff that we can use with our clients. Problem is, before, without MethoGrid, was it would take you an age to discover that somebody had a new little kind of tool or a tip or a video or kind of something that was as of use to magically help a client. Now we've got a place where we can put that information and people can kind of feed this. So whether it's myself as head of consulting or our CEO, our doctor, Mike Carter, or my consulting team, they've got the ability to add elements to this, kind of add content, and even build out kind of new areas that they're experts in.
No, great. And I think, it's probably not, it's very early stage, clearly, use of MethoGrid. It's not quite at a point where you'd be showing it off to prospects quite yet, but in terms of the next layer of that onion is probably using it to show off to potential resellers. And can you just tell us what kind of initial, again, from a very, very early use place, what initial benefits have come about from where you've got to?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've expanded ourselves to the point that we've got resellers on either side of the globe, the US and Australia, which adds a new dimension of complexity to our organisation. We've got to be able to support those businesses, but we've also got to make them self-sustainable, that they have access to the right information, as well as our own tool, so that when they are ready to deploy our tool and run an event, they have all the information that they need, and they don't have to wait for us to wake up on whatever side of the world that we're on at that time, to then be able to support them. And MethoGrid allows us to be able to do this. The potential beyond that is that they can then start to feed this process as well.
No, great. And just conscious of your time, Matt, I know you've got to shoot off and make some calls, but just a couple of questions to finish with. Firstly, any top tips for others out there? Maybe just, clearly you're still fairly early use, but anybody that's literally just coming onto the platform?
I would say don't be afraid of it. Just make some time to have a play with it. It's incredibly simple. That was the attraction to me, was I just wanted to get my hands on it, and start simple. Start by kind of building stuff out. I guess the lesson learned for me was I got a little bit too excited, a little bit too carried away, and I built a number of stages first. But as I got into developing those stages, then I realised that my template wasn't quite right, and I was having to go back and re-engineer stuff because I was thinking. So almost start with a single stage and a single theme, kind of get that to a point where you're really happy with it, and then start to build it out from there. Otherwise you're going back. Kind of the ability to clone things is really, really helpful for me.
Yeah, and I think, you couldn't be reinforcing enough that just keep it really, really simple to start. A free stage, free element grid.
Yep.
But what you've done is, at the very least, kind of created a common dialogue now within your team, and naturally you see that now, developing from there.
Yep.
And then I guess just final question: what would you like to see next in MethoGrid, and what message do you have for us as a development team?
The product is solid. It's robust. It's a great tool to use. I think the exciting thing for us is, as we start to flip the model, kind of 80% revenue going from direct to customer to more the reseller and enterprise customers, this is an asset that we can make available to other people. So it's how do we enable ourselves as the kind of the host company to start to give access to kind of people having their own grids, so that we might be able to help set these up with them. We give them the core information, but then we can decouple ourselves from it. It becomes their information to maintain and build.
Yeah, and absolutely. And just to sort of explain. We that's one of the most common requests we hear in Matt, and a very logical one. So just to update on that, we have that in our sort of development stack. In the next, I think in the next quarter or so, we're about to go live with a commercial version of this product, hopefully in the coming weeks. But as soon as that sort of hump is over and done with, then we absolutely see this kind of sub-account area that you can ring fence and assign membership to in a bespoke way. So very commonly a professional service firm looking to create an area for their clients and maybe some of the team, but it's kind of access configured. That's something we're very keen to get out there for everybody in the user community.
Sounds great. Let me add it.
Thank you for moving that one up the priority list one step further. Hey Matt, I'm conscious of your time. I know you've got to shoot. Just to say huge thanks for coming along today. Thanks for giving us your feedback on MethodGrid, and wish Footdown all the best. I guess final question: how do people find out more about Footdown and contact you?
So just check us out at footdown.com. Very simple. Or follow me on LinkedIn. Come find me. I'm under Matt Jenkins.
Great stuff. Cheers, Matt. Stay well.
Thank you.